नमो नमः। नमो नमः सद्गुरुभ्यो नमो नमः। ज्ञानवैराग्यसम्पूर्णां हरिभक्तिपरायणां पूर्वाचार्याणहं वन्दे सम्प्रदायप्रवर्तकान् परशुरानारदपराशरपुण्डरीकव्याजाम्बरी सुखशौनकविश्वदाभ्याम् रुक्माङ्गदादिप्रयोज्यविभीषणादिपुण्यानिमान् परमभागवतान् स्मरामि। जन्माद्यस्य गतोऽन्वयादितश्चार्थेषु तेने ब्रह्महृदायादिकवये यत्सूरयः तेजोवारिवृता यथा विनिमय तत्त्वसर्गो मृषा दाम्ना स्वेन सदा निधस्तकोकं सत्यं परं धीमहि धर्मप्रोचितकैतमोऽत्र परमो निर्वत्सराणां सताम् वेद्यं वासवमत्तमसिमृतं तापत्रयोन्मूलनं पूजन्तं राम रामेति मधुरं मधुराक्षरम् आरुह्य कपिता शाखा वन्दे वाल्मीकिकोकिलम् दोर्भिर्युक्ता चतुर्भिः स्फटिकमणिमयी मक्षमालां ददानाम् हस्ते नैकेन पद्मंसितमशिस्तकं पुस्तकं चापरेण भासाङ्कुन्देन्दुशङ्कस्फटिकमणिनिभा भासमाना समाना सा मे वाग्देवतेयं निवसतु वदने सर्वदा सुप्रसन्ना पूजन्तं राम रामेति मधुरं मधुराक्षरम् आरुह्य कविता शाखा वन्दे वाल्मीकिकोकिलं वाल्मीके मुनिसिंहस्य कवितावनचारिणः शृण्वन् रामकथानाथं कोनयाति पराङ्गतिम् आञ्जनेयमतिपातलार्णं काञ्चनाद्रिकमनीयविग्रहम् पारिजाततन्मूलवासिनं भावयामि पवमाननन्दनं यत्र यत्र रघुनाथकीर्तनं तत्र जगदमस्तकाञ्जलिं बाष्पवारि परिपूर्णलोचनं मारुतिं नमत राक्षसान्तकं मनोजवं मारुततुल्यवेगं जितेन्द्रियं बुद्धिमतां वरिष्ठं वातात्मजं वानरयूतमुख्यं श्रीरामदूतं शिरसा नमामि बुद्धिर्बलं यशोधैर्यं निर्भयत्वमरोगताम् अजाड्यं वाक्पटुत्वं च हनूमत्स्मरणात् बले அஞ்சிலே ஒன்று பெற்றான் அஞ்சிலே ஒன்றை தாவி அஞ்சிலே ஒன்று ஆறாக ஆயிர்க்காக ஏறி அஞ்சிலே ஒன்று பெற்று அணங்கை கண்டு அயலாரூரில் அஞ்சிலே ஒன்றை வைத்தார் அவன் நம்மை அழுத்து காப்பான். சிறையே நமஹா சிறையே நமஹா. ஜானகீகாந்தஸ்மரணம் ஜெய ஜெய ராம ராம. சத்குரு சுவாமினஹ ஜெய். ஆஞ்சநேய சுவாமினஹ ஜெய். By the grace of Srivan Narayana, we have, at the last session, we have seen the most beautiful Jatayu as well as Sabari's liberation. As in the case of Jatayu, Sakshat Rama himself has delivered him the moksha because of his unwavering faith towards the Dharma, even though he was very old, even though he might have the less stamina to fight against Ravana. But because of the faith towards Dharma, he was able to astonish Ravana. He was able to fumble Ravana. Because of his unshakable faith towards Dharma, he valiantly fought against Ravana. As well as he sacrificed his life like a warrior. As we people, we give more respect to cinema stars. We consider them as idol. But the problem is, we don't value our own true warriors. We can't even bear that how much temperature Kargil and Siachen would be. But think of their plight and think of their condition. They are not like Maharshis who sacrificed everything, who had no such relationship, who sacrificed all the relations and went there to do tapas. They also have their family. Like us, they also have their own family to look after it. But they stay there for 24/7 guarding our border. Or else, anytime Pakistan may start our attack. Anytime attack can occur from 4 directions. They are guarding. Why? Because of them only we are doing Ramayana here. Or else we cannot have an online meeting, we cannot have a physical upanyasam there. All because of the army warriors. Because of their protection, we were all safeguarded. what I meant to say is that kind of sacrifice Jatayu Swami had made. That kind of sacrifices many army warriors have made. That sacrifice has impressed Rama, and that is the reason Rama had did Brahma made a samskaram to Jatayu. That is the the dharma. That is the karma that has to be done for those who have done hundreds and thousands of homas and yagas. To that state, Rama has uplifted him, and to him suddenly after the stage after completing the culmination, from that a divine person appeared with folded hands, asked Rama, "Which place shall I go?" And Rama forgotten his own stature. He forgot after forgetting his own self. He has told, "Mayatvam abhyanutyataha gachalokan anuttaman." You can go to whatever places. Gridharaja Mahasatva Samskritasta Mayachata. And whatever the samskara I have done as of now, you can go to whatever places which you desire. As many say that God has given him Vaikunta. God has given him the pass of Vaikunta, which Jatayu had vouchsafed it. From that, till that we have listened Jatayu Moksha. And in the case of Sabari, here she was a qualified bhakta. Qualified in the sense, how can I say she was qualified? Did she do any sadhana? Did she do any tapas? Yes, she did. What was the tapas she had adhered? She followed Guru's words. That is what Acharya said in Prashnottaratramalika. Bhagavan Kimupadayam. Guru Vachanam. What has to be followed is Guru's words. She followed Guru's words and she served her Guru Matanga Muni for so many years without expecting anything. And that has also impressed Matanga Maharishi, and he gave her Ramanama. And she continuously chanted, she contemplated on the two word Ramanama. And that was the reason for her moksha, for her liberation. That punyam shabaristhānam jagama atma samadhina. And Rama was just a spectator of Sabari's moksha. With that we have seen our last session. And as per Kabanda's words, Rama has to go to Kishkinda to befriend with Sugriva. By befriending with Sugriva, then only he can obtain Sita. So Rama at the time started to enter Sugriva after visiting Sabari's ashram. And that time, when he saw the Kishkinda, Rama looked at Lakshmana. By looking at the flora and fauna in and around Kishkinda, he was very amazed, and he started Satam Pushkarinim Gatva Padmot Panajashakula Ramaha Saumitri Sahito Vilalaka Akulendriyaha Saumitre Shobate Pampa Vaidurya Vimalodaka Pulla Padmot Palavati Shobita Vividai Drumaihi Saumitre Shobate Pampa. Look at this Pampa river, which is the present day Hampi. As by looking at Hampi, Vaidurya Vimalodaka, and look at the river flowing around, look at the brook flowing around. It was how pleasant it looks. And look at all the flowers circumambulating Kishkinda. They were all blossoming. And at the same time, he was also worried if Sita was along with us, she would have gone around the forest and plucked some of the handful of flowers and given to us if Sita was with us. But even though he had the sorrow of losing Sita, but at the same time he was mesmerized with the flora and fauna of Kishkinda. By looking at that, Padmot Palla Jashakulam. And at the same time, he looked at the pond that was fully filled, completely filled with all the lotuses. And all the lotuses, they were all were waiting for the sun to be arrived. The moment sun arrived, all the flowers, they all they raised their petals. And at that time, all the bees came for the sake of quenching the honey from the tasting the honey from the lotus, which every which also stole Rama and Lakshmana's heart. And Shokatasyapi de pamta shobate chitrakarana. And even though I was in a stage of depression, I was in a state of depression that I couldn't forget Sita. But this Pampa, this scenery, this scenery in around Kishkinda, it has somehow cleansed my mind. It has somehow consoled me. It has somehow consoled me. It has somehow has given me a state of contentment. That it has given me a hope that somehow I can get my Sita, which Rama tells Saumitri, tells Lakshmana. And slowly he enters Kishkinda. And at that time, he saw a Vanara who was looking hither and thither along with his 4 to 5 companions with a state of nervousness, as he was worried that any other person might come and end his life. So he was in a state of tensed mood. He was in a state of frustration. He don't know what to do. At that state, they were worried. And at that time, at that time, what Kabanda had told him previously, and that came into Rama's mind, that as Kabanda before he left, he told me to meet Sugriva. Is it that Vanara Sugriva? And he specifically told him that he is a Vanara king. You have to be friend with him to get Sita. So he thought, at that time Rama looked at Kishkinda, the mountain at Kishkinda, that he finally came to the conclusion that monkey was none other than Sugriva. So he told Lakshmana, was that Sugriva? And Lakshmana was dumbstruck. He don't know what to say. No other words to say. So Lakshmana was also surprised that yes, he might be Sugriva. So we would better meet him. As under Lakshmana's words, Rama and Lakshmana both were about to meet Sugriva. And Sugriva suddenly saw those two people. He thought that since his elder brother Vali couldn't come atop at Hirshimuka hills, instead he sent those two people to abduct us, to bring him to his court, or he has ordered them to kill us. So it's better we would leave this place. See, he has ordered all the Vanaras to leave, and one person and one Vanara who was intelligent came at that time, told Sugriva, asked Sugriva, why you were hurry? He was none other than Hanuman. And Sugriva told, Vali has ordered his troops to assault us, so it's better we would leave our place. And Hanuman told, Sugriva, calm down. You have to wait. He asked, who are those people? Sugriva told Hanuman, they are opposite to us. Those two people. Look at them clearly. And Hanuman looked at them very, very clearly. By looking at them, he didn't see them as henchmen. Instead, he saw both of them, they were equally qualified to rule one kingdom. And why should they be kinsmen? Why should they be henchmen to Vali? If you closely look at their shoulders, they have the capacity to rule the entire world. And why should they be the able servants to Vali, which he had tried to explain to Sugriva? Since Sugriva was in the state of fear, he was in a state of perplexion that he couldn't understand the wavelength of Anjaneya Swami. So Sugriva told, it, it may be right on your part, but for me I can't accept it. So, for my sake, you better disguise yourself as a hermit and approach them. Which, as per Sugriva's order, Anjaneya Swami started. Kapirupam parityajya Hanuman marutatmajaha Vikshurupam tato beje Shatabuddhitaya kapihi Kapirupam parityajya Hanuman marutatmajaha. He came as a bhikshu. So he doesn't need to come as a brahmachari because he himself was a brahmachari. So what's the point in coming as a brahmachari? So he came as a hermit. Vikshurupam tato veje shatabuddhitaya kapihi. He came as a bhikshu. At that time, everyone, when he approached both Rama and Lakshmana, and suddenly instead of seeing them as just a warrior, seeing them as a able warriors, as a able qualified, equally qualified person to rule the entire world, instead he has gone a way ahead. He has looked at them as both of them, they were Bhagavan. By looking at them, he started praising them. Rajashideva pratimau tapasau samshitau vratau desham katamimam pratau bhavantau varavarninau trasayantau mrigaganat anyancha vanacharinaha. Rajarshi Deva Pratimau Tapasau Samsidam Vratau. Rajarshi Deva Pratimau. You both were actually prince. And why suddenly you wore those ochre robes? And why suddenly you wore those robes that were of tree bark kind? That is Valkalam. And you don't look like, you look like Rajarshi, but you aren't at the stage of Rajarshi. But those who are at the age of 50 to 60, if they come at this stage, I can clearly say he is a Rajarshi. But you both, Rajarshi Deva Pratima, you both look like Devatas. Tapasau Shamsita Vratav. You both look like tapasvis. You both have accumulated a lot of tapas. By lot of meditation, you accumulated a lot of powers. Tapasau Samsita Vratav. Samsita Vratav here it means that you both have a broad-minded thinking, I can say. You both weren't narrow-minded. Even though you were broad-minded, you don't seem to look like a Rajarshi. As something wrong might have been occurred. Katam Padbyam Ihapratam Kimartam Kasyavamune. Katam Padbyam. And why do you come by foot? Even though you travel by horse, you travel by elephant, and you travel by tubes. And why do you single-handedly come by foot? Varayuja Dharu Viro. And by looking at your both shoulders, I sense that you both have handled hundreds and thousands of wars. And by looking at your shoulders, I can say that how powerful you both would be. And Desham Katamimam Prapto Bhavanto Varvanino. And Desham Katamimam. And why do you come here and what made you to come here? Which Anjaneya indirectly knew what were their status. Indirectly it addressed him. By looking at the two, by looking at Hanuman's words, both of them were very impressed. Sharva Bhushana Bhusharaha Kimartam na Vibhushita Ayatasha Shurtascha Bhavaha Paribovamaha Bhagavaha Parivopamaha Sarva Bhushana Bhusharaha Kimartam na Vibhushitaha. Like, by looking at your both the shoulders, You would wear a lot of ornaments. And why you didn't wear any ornaments? Why were there sans ornaments in your both arms? And what was the status and what was your condition of you wearing these orca robes? Which Anjaneya Swami indirectly asked him. And both were impressed by his words. And slowly Rama persuaded Lakshmana to speak with Anjaneya Swami. And later he introduced himself that I am Sugriva Sachivo Nama Hanuman Nama Vanaraha. I am Sugriva's true minister. And which impressed Lakshmana. And Lakshmana started slowly to converse with Hanuman. 1 minute. Sugriva Sachivo Nama Hanuman Nama Vanaraha. Then Rama slowly persuaded Lakshmana to speak with Anjaneya Swami. And Anjaneya was very. At the time, Anjaneya couldn't, and he thought for a while, and why should I disguise myself as a hermit in front of them? Instead, he showed his true form. And then both of them started to converse. And Rama was deeply impressed by his conversation. Na Rigveda Vinitasya, na Yajurveda Darinaha, na Samaveda Vidushaha, Shakyamevam Prapashitum, Nunam Vyakaranam Kritsnam, Anena Bahuda Shudam, Bahu Vyakarananena, na Kinchit Apashaptitum, which Rama cautioned Lakshmana at that same time. I just said he persuaded. And at the same time, he also cautioned Lakshmana by looking at his intellect, by looking at the way how he conversed, how he addressed both Rama and Lakshmana. With that, Rama came into conclusion that Nadrik Veda Vinitasya, that there is a touch of Rigveda. But some may say that he's not a person who has just read Rigveda. But why I mentioned, but here I clearly mentioned that there is a touch of Rigveda. Why? Because basically in Rigveda, it talks about stotras. There are a lot of stutis and there are a lot of suktas in Rigveda. As in Rigveda, there is a stuti on Venkateshwara. There is a stuti that is being copied in Venkatachala Mahatmyam. Narangitani Girim Diguntasya Sargade Sikam Vita Satkaviste Vishwa Jatayamasi. That was said in Veda. The same was said in Venkatachala Mahatmyam. That sloka. As lot of stotras are mentioned in Rigveda. So, whatever Anjaneya Swami has told, there is a touch of Rigveda. Na Rigveda Vinitasya, na Yajurveda Darinaha. There is also touch of Yajurveda. Why there is a touch of Yajurveda? Because in Yajurveda, it was, you can't stop. We have to tell continuously. How do you know? If you speak with a person who has completed with Yajurveda, then you know that for him, how many years it has took for him to complete a single Yajurveda. To master that Yajurveda, that is also vital. And to chant Yajurveda, it is continuously in a prose form. And whatever he spoke, it is of enough prose form. Na Yajurveda Darinaha, na Samaveda Vidushaha. And I can't wholly say it is Samaveda, but there is a touch of Samaveda here. How? Because it is melodious. It is melancholy. It sounds very, very good. So, basically, Samagana is done in Samaveda. But Yajurveda, one point of Samagana is there. Etat Samagayan Naste Ha Hu-ha Hu-ha Hu. That Samagana comes in Yajurveda. As Anjaneya Swami spoke, like a person who's well versed in Samagana. It was melodious. His speech was melodious. His speech was incredible. Sakyamevam prabhashitam. No one can better him and no one can beat him. That's what Tyagirwal said in his Kirtana. Tyagaraja Swami said in Kirtana. Geetarthamu, Sangeetarthamu, Vatajvajmunki, Vaga Telis. He knows Gita as well as Sangeeta. That is what that's what Rama told. Shakyame na samaveda vidushaha sakyamevam prabhasham. Perfect meaning. Tyagaraja Swami gave in his Kirtana. That too in Telugu. Na samaveda vidushaha. Shakyamevam prabhasham. No one can better him. Nyunam vyakaranam kritsnam anena bhauda shrutam. He is well versed in all grammar. Basically, in Sanskrit, there is one grammar. We follow Panini grammar. That is Ashtadhyayi. But Anjaneya Swami knows 9 types of Sanskrit grammar. Hence, he is called Navavyākarana Pandita. He is well versed in all grammar. Also, he is well versed in Sanskrit grammar. He knows different types of grammar, it seems. Anena Bahuda Shrutam. He is also adaptive. He is also a very good listener. Since he is an elegant speaker, he should also be a very good listener too. Certainly, he is also a very good speaker. So, Bahu Vyakaranena Nakinchit Apashaptitum. Since he is well versed in all types of grammar, Nakinchit Apashaptitum. At one end, whatever he spoke, there is no such error, which in my knowledge, as per my knowledge, I couldn't detect it. Which Rama spoke in praise of Anjaneya Swami, and he also cautioned Lakshmana to deal with him in a careful way. So, he requested Lakshmana to speak with Anjaneya Swami, because to debate with him, since Anjaneya Swami was a minister, he's a minister to Sugriva, and Lakshmana escorted Rama and Sita as he is in a position of a minister. So, to deal for the kingship or for the politics to be discussed, a minister must speak with the minister. Like how a prime minister meets with his counterpart of different countries. The same rule Rama brings here. Since he can't speak directly with Anjaneya Swami, he conveys, since he needs a medium, Lakshmana Swami, to convey his instruction to Anjaneya Swami. That's why he needs Lakshmana as a medium to convey his instruction. So he used Lakshmana as a medium to speak with Anjaneya Swami. This is one meaning. Another meaning is, since he impressed Rama cannot speak with Anjaneya Swami. To speak with him, he needs a devotee who always praises him 24/7. That is Adisesha. That is why even though he had a single tongue, since he can't praise Bhagavan, he can't give a detailed description on Bhagavan for so many years. Hence his tongue split into twice. Hence he got his name as Dvijikva. That Adisesha has the capacity, has the capability to speak with Anjaneya Swami, which I can say it in multiple ways, which I can interpret in multiple ways. So Lakshmana spoke with Anjaneya Swami and he also tested him. Even though he was well versed in Shastras, as per Rama's comment. But I have a doubt. How much does he understand Rama? So Lakshmana dropped a hint. Lokanato purabhutva Sugrivam natamichati. Which Lakshmana told just one word. Lokanato purabhutva Sugrivam natamichati. Which Anjaneya quickly understand, and he slowly raised Rama and Lakshmana onto his shoulders and brought in front of Sugriva. And Sugriva had no other way. He couldn't tolerate Anjaneya Swami bringing both Rama and Lakshmana in front of him. and he was perplexed, and he was ready to leave that place, and he ordered his three companions to leave immediately. And Anjaneya cautioned Sugriva, and Anjaneya consoled Sugriva, and he requested Sugriva to be here, and he slowly tried and made him understand that both of them were they even though they were equally powerful, they weren't here to serve Vali. They were here to help Sugriva, which he firmly made him understand. And he told Rama and Sugriva uh, to, to shake their hands. And at the same time, by keeping fire as a medium, they both have to take a oath of Ekam Mitram Sukham Chanaha. Both of them, by keeping fire as the medium, they both have expressed their friendship. And with that, we have seen the Sugriva Sakyam. As both of them were ready to share whatever problems they were incurring and whatever problems they were holding in their hearts. Which both of them, they started conversing freely. And Rama was in a state of depression. He couldn't sleep properly. He was sleeping on a rock. As every time when he sleeps, he would always think about Sita. He would always lament about of what are the things Sita used to like, and what are the things and what are the activities he used to engage with Sita, which he would continuously think about Sita. And at that time, Sugriva used to Sugriva used to convince him, and Sugriva used to console him with his good words that don't worry, Rama, you have to be bold like me. Like, I also left my wife. I am also single like you. So you have to be firm. You have to be fierce like me. You must not cry for these kind of things. While you are alone, you have to be bold. Which Sugriva slowly consoles Rama, and Rama doesn't know what to do. Upakara palam mitram viditam me mahakape. Like you have done a very good help. Upakara palam mitram. And my good deeds are just now reaped. Why? Because I have got a friend like you. Valinam tyam vadishyami tava bharya paharinam. And slowly, Sugriva at one point told his own story of his story of his elder brother Vali. As he started his story that they both lived in Kishkinda, and they both were the sons of King Riksharaja. And after his demise, Vali became the ruler of Kishkinda. And at that time, Vali has conquered Kishkinda, as he has conquered the entire place. And at that time, he had lot of enemies, and many were jealous of his valor, as many couldn't withstand with Vali's power, and he was single-handedly ruling Kishkinda. He was an able ruler. And at that time, one Rakshasa named Dundubi, he was continuously hitting the Kailasha, and he was continuously forging the Devas. He was continuously forcing the Devas to fight with him in the war, like what Hiranyaksha did. The same way Dundubi did. He called all the Devas to fight with him, and Devas told, "We want your equal to equally combat with you. So better you go to Kishkinda. You call Vali. He's your wavelength. Better you fight with him." Which they all requested Dundubi to go to Kishkinda. At that time, it was midnight. Dundubi shouted, "Vali, Vali, come and fight with me. And Vali, after the third call, he woke up and he slowly closed his eyes, slowly opened his eyes, and slowly rubbed his eyes. And he saw one Rakshasa named Dundubi. He also addressed his name to fight with me, to invite him for a war. He has invited Vali to fight with him, to war with him. And Vali was surprised, and at the same time he was angry that I was sleeping, and why the hell he has disturbed me to fight with me at this night, at this time. So it's better I won't leave him freely. I would give him a very big gift, and depart him. So Vali, with utmost confidence, fought with Dundubi single-handedly, and he killed him. And at the same time, Mayavi came, his brother, who couldn't bear his Dundubi's death. He was in a verge of taking revenge of his brother's death. So instead of me coming as a single Rakshasa, he disguised himself as a buffalo to disturb Vali overnight, the same midnight. That was around a month before. At that time, he came in a disguise of a buffalo and shouted and bellowed. Sorry. After, by listening his bellow, Vali was really tensed that 1 month I have killed this person, and he might have not withstanded by my fierce, brutal beatings. And how could this person come and disturb me at the same time? Like I think he has come to deliver himself in the war. So Vali couldn't tolerate his injustice, and by looking at Vali, Sugriva also followed him, and this Mayavi also devised a plan. He when Vali was chasing him, Mayavi ran. Mayavi ran hether and tether, and suddenly he hid into a cave where all the Rakshasas, they were having lumps of meat. And when Vali reached the cave, Sugriva followed him, and he told Sugriva to fiercely close the cave, as even though the Rakshasa might be fiercely powerful than Vali, if the Rakshasa might have killed Vali, he might come outside, and he might come outside and create trouble to the entire Kishkinda. So it's better to choke him and kill him inside the cave. So he requested Sugriva to close the cave whenever, if he couldn't hear his voice. When there was a fierce battle between Vali, Mayavi, and all the Rakshasas, all the demons, and they were all combating on Vali single-handedly, and Vali single-handedly combated on him. And it was hours, days, months, years. Sugriva was waiting outside the cave, and suddenly he heard Vali's voice. He heard the voice which resembled like Vali. So Sugriva had no other choice to follow his brother's orders to close the cave, to seal the cave tightly. And then he slowly went to his kingdom and told the news that Vali had passed away. And his ministers had no other choice to, instead of keeping the throne empty, it's better we would crown Sugriva as the king of Kishkinda. As everyone crowned Sugriva as the king of Kishkinda, he treated these subjects peacefully as his own children. And when Vali arrived by breaking the cave, by breaking the rock, and suddenly he reached Kishkinda, and at that time all the ministers, they were carrying the palanquin, and at that time many were saying Rajadi Raja, Raja Kulottunga, Raja Gambira, Sugriva Maharaja, Bahuparag, Bahuparag, Bahuparag. Everyone were singing slogans at the time. And at that time, Sugriva must have the audacity to get down of that palanquin to stop all the arrangements and single-handedly come with a and single-handedly come and submit the throne to the Vali. Instead, he came at that royal attire in front of Vali, and that had even annoyed Vali that, and it has even created a mind such that created a negative mindset of Vali. And Vali told, "You have acquired this kingship just in the sake of killing me. In the sake of murdering me, you want to enjoy this kingship. So it's better you leave this king." And Sugriva was ready to tell the incident. And he told the incident that for the sake of for the sake of people's safety, I have sealed the cave with the rock. I sealed the rock. I sealed the entire cave. Which Vali heard it. But the negative point of Vali is that he had a sadistic intention that he doesn't want, he snubbed Sugriva each and every time. Whenever Sugriva was ready to speak, when Sugriva was ready to justify his actions, that to justify his actions in such a way that he wanted to make Vali understand that he doesn't desire for the throne. He came to the throne because his minister insisted him to ascend the kingship duties, which Sugriva firmly told. Vali didn't pay heed to him, so he told him to banish. He told him to leave the kingdom, and that too without his wife. So he has also abducted his wife Ruma, and single-handedly Sugriva was allowed to left the forest just with one cloth, and wherever he stayed and wherever he was about to drink water, Vali would order his troops to beat Sugriva. So heter and tether, wherever he stayed, Sugriva was beaten by Vali. So there was no other place to stay over there. And he also told Rama that even though Vali has hit me heter and tether, I knew the entire place around India. I knew from Kashmir till Kanyakumari what are the places in India, as well as the entire place and as well as the entire continents also I knew. Because wherever I go, Vali would hit me. So I don't know which place I could stay. So at last I found a very good place, that is this Nishimuka's mountain. And when I stayed there, Vali has ordered his troops to beat me. And when I saw me staying at Rishimuka, he left at that moment. And that reminded me of his curse. Because he single-handedly killed Dundubi. And instead of leaving Dundubi aside, he rotated him like he rotated his body in an anti-clockwise direction and threw in ashrama where Matanga was doing japa. And by sensing the smell of Dundubi's corpse, Matanga was annoyed that he came here to do japa, and how could this Vali have an audacity to throw the corpse in my ashram? So he cursed Vali that whenever if he comes to Rishimuka, his head would be shattered. And from that place, Vali couldn't turn his neck to Rishimuka. So that was my fortune that I thought that I had no other place to stay in Kishkinda. But I'm fortunate to stay along with my 5 trusted companions who are there to console me every time, who are there to give me a faith and give me a hope such that someday these 4 people are responsible for me to digest this problem, for me to live comfortably in this Rishimuka. Sugriva told all his problems to Rama. And Rama told Pratyava Valinam tam vadishyami tava bharyapaharinam, which Rama pledged that someday I will surely, definitely slay Vali and return your wife Ruma. Don't worry, Sugriva. I am there to solve your problem, which Rama assured. Then Sugriva slowly spoke about Vali's strengths, that how he single-handedly slayed Dundubi, which he mentioned the secret of Vali. That was when the opponent was ready to lock horns with Vali, his strength would be an added advantage to Vali. And whatever the strength the opponent might have, his strength would be added to Vali's strength such that opponent would be unbalanced, such that it would make the opponent to be unbalanced. So he would eat all the strength of the opponent. In such a way, he had swayed Dundubi. But right now, his corpse is lying in in Rishimuka's mountain. And he also challenged Rama that if you have the power, you you have to lift this corpse, which he challenged Rama. And Rama wasn't tensed, because if you do to another person, basically, if we were in that position, we would have waged the war with that person, and we would have counter questioned him that. And how can you question me? If you have a firm faith and firm conviction on me, you must not question me. And you have to wholeheartedly trust me, which we would tell him in a rude way. And Rama, in a pleasant way, he has accepted the task. Padam kustena chichepa sabyoga dasayojanam. And just by his finger, just by his toe part, just by his right toe, he just lifted the corpse. The Dundubi corpse, which were just he lifted the corpse, and he pushed it to the hundreds and thousands of miles that is near Kailasa. That is what Desika told. Tita Katita Kailasa Koti Dundubi Gangala Turu Dura Diksha Ksheva Daksha Kshnedara Padam Gusta Darajara Vishwasta Suhridashaya, which hundreds and thousands of miles near Kailasha, Rama had lifted the Dundubi's corpse and he playfully pushed it aside. And that was surprised, and that didn't surprise Sugriva, because it has become, it wasn't a flesh, all were raw bones. So it is of no use of lifting and throwing it aside. And he also again challenged, and he also wanted to challenge Rama. And he was tirelessly challenging Rama that even though he lifted Dundubi's corpse, that too effortlessly, and he showed all the saltries, all these saltries Vali would use to brush his teeth, and he used these saltries to wash his body. So it's better Rama, if you have the capacity, you better cut this salt tree. At least the single tree you need to cut this salt tree, which he ordered Rama, and Rama also accepted it. Instead of cutting a single salt tree, he cut all the 7 salt trees. He dipped them into one ocean, and later he brought them back to life, and the arrow came back to his Rama's box, and that has amazed Sugriva. And then he understood that we have messed with a very big warrior who's capable of killing Vali. So he has understood his fault, And later, Sugriva assigned duty to Rama to slay Vali, and he started following Rama's orders. And he asked Rama, "Right now, what shall we do, Rama? You please order me. You please tell me." And Rama told, "Better go to Kishkinda and call Vali." And Sugriva was in a half mind whether to go or not. For me, I don't want to go there because I would be fiercely beaten by Vali. To escape from the beatings, I came to Rishimuka. Sorry. And at the same time, I am also confident that Rama would take care of me. Rama would rescue me anytime. But I don't have the mind to go to Kishkinda because I'm scared of Vali. So, to bring him here, I have to bring Vali. So, with a half mind, Sugriva went to Kishkinda and he called Vali. And Vali saw Sugriva that this person hadn't changed for years yet. So, I would teach him a very big lesson and come back. So, there was a fierce war between Vali and Sugriva. And Vali voraciously fought with Sugriva. And Sugriva was no match with him. And he was being tirelessly beaten by Vali. And Vali mauled him. And Vali was somehow in a state to kill Sugriva. And Sugriva was constantly looking at Rama, helplessly looking at Rama. That when we would help him, he was looking at Rama. And Vali broke his bones and left at that moment, casually. And Sugriva, constantly looking at Rama, told him that I have given you a duty and why did you didn't fulfill it? And I waited for a long time whether you would help me. I guessed at you in such a way that you would somehow slay Vali. And Rama told him that I don't know to differentiate. Since both of you looked very similar, if I hit Sugriva, if I see that one Vanara, they might be Sugriva. If I see another Vanara, they may be also Sugriva. So both of you look similar. Instead of hitting Vali, I would have hit Sugriva. So to avoid the conclusion, he requested Lakshmana to give him to offer him a garland to Sugriva. Then it would give him a clear idea to differentiate who was Vali and who was Sugriva. And Sugriva, even though he was beaten black and blue, came and called Vali for war. Even though he called Vali again and again, Vali was amazed and he was very, very surprised. Just now I broke his limbs, and who gave him the audacity to call him again for a war? And that has even fueled him, that has even added him the fuel to the fire. And he was more and more angry. And before that, and before he was about to leave, Tara stopped him. His consort Tara stopped him to think about the consequence. Even though Sugriva called Vali is because there was some reason. If a person was beaten by Vali, either he would be in a deathbed or he won't be in a scene. But here, this person is in the scene and he was more and more confident, even though he was beaten by Vali. That seems that he had orchestrated a very big plan, a very big scheme to trap you, to entrap you. So, it's better. And Tara also indirectly insisted that Rama was his backup. So you have to be beware while dealing with Sugriva. As Tara stress mentioned, Tara gave him Upadesa. Rivasa Vikshaha Sadhunam Apannanam Parangadim Arthanam Samchayaschaiva Asasachaiva Bhajanaha Rivasa Vista Sadhunam Apannanam Parangadim Rivasa Viksha Sadhunam. Here he mentioned that Apannanam Parangadim, those who has been entrapped in a sense of guilt, in a sense of fear, in a sense of loneliness, to them, the sadhus, the mendicants would come. To them, the mendicants would come. To them, the mendicants would give them the to give them the assurance that I am here to take care of their livelihood, which Rama came here, which Tara clearly highlights the clearly she made him understand. Sorry, to him Tara tries to make Vali understand that Rama was Bhagavan. She tried her best to pacify Vali that don't mess with Sugriva. Instead, stop this enmity and better accept Sugriva as it is. Better go for priest treaty rather than locking horns with him, which Tara slowly tells Vali. And Vali didn't pay heed to him. And Vali tells Tara that you don't need to worry. You know about my power. You know about my physique. You know how about Mayavi and Dudubi's story. How I single-handedly killed them. I want to kill him. I would better injure him because he was my brother. He's my brother. I would injure him in such a way that he won't come back again. And you don't think that Rama won't be his backup. I am powerful. He might be my backup. So, don't scare me and don't fret me by telling these kind of things. I know. You don't need to worry. I'll take care of it. Which Vali convinced Tara, even though Tara wasn't convinced by Vali's words. And Vali came to combat with Sugriva once again. Again, Paraspara, both of them wrestled. And one Vanara fiercely hit him. And Vali again counterattacked him. Sugriva hit him. Vali counterattacked him. Both of them fought equally, combated with each other. And Vali overpowered him each and every time. And both of them, they all took their respective weapons. Both of them took their maces and hurled with each other. And both of them fought with each other equally. And each and every time Vali overpowered him. And somehow Sugriva lost his strength. He didn't know what to do. And somehow he became very, very tired. He couldn't somehow manage with Vali's physique and Vali's power. And Vali single-handedly lifted Sugriva. And he was ready to crush him and throw him on the ground. And at that time, Rama. Okay. And at that time, Rama, who was stationed back, looked at Vali lifting at Sugriva, who was ready to kill Sugriva. He was stationed at that point, focused, and he hurled Brahmastra on that Vali. And Yata Haraha, like how Parameshwara burned the Tripura with just one arrow, just with one laugh, he burned the Tripura. The same way he killed Vali. With just one arrow, he killed Vali, and Vali was very surprised. From backside, who had hit the arrow? By looking at that, he saw that word Rama. By reading that word Rama was about to leave. He stood there. And that word, Kamanattal said, Mummai Sal Mugukella Mula Mandiratte Tammaye Tamakku Nalgum Tanipperum Padatte, which he said, Mummai Sal Mugukella Mula Mandiratte. and that is the base of, and that is the base, that is the root of all the mantras. The word Ramanama, because Pranava rules the entire universe. As Bhagavan said in said in Gita, Pranava Sarva Vedeshu Saptakke Paurusham Rishu. The, the world runs with just one syllable, that is the Om. And many people cannot chant the word Om. Only the sannyasis can chant the word Om. Even though the person who got initiated, they have to chant the mantra along with Om. They can't chant the word Om alone. So, there is one mantra that is equivalent to Om. That is Rama. That word Rama is equivalent to Om. And that contains the essence of all the Vedas. And that is also that also reaps the benefit of a person who chanted Vishnu Sahasranama. That is what Parameshwara told. Sri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattulyam Rama Rama Maranane Ummaisal Mugukkellam Mula Mandiratte Tammaye Tamakku Nalgum Tanipparum Padattinai. And apart from the origin of the Vedas, it also gives it also gives us the very big benefit. It also yields very big result. What it does? Tanipperum Padattai. It gives us salvation. You don't need to ask for that. By chanting Ramanama itself, Mukti. Mukti Karatale Sthita, I said in Bhagavatam. Like, it is like a gooseberry in your arm. The word Ramanama. That is what in Kirtana it is said, Ramanamamu Janma Rakshakamu Mantra. Ramanamamu Janma Raksham. And that saves your Janma. By chanting that word Rama, Rama stood in front of Vali. The moment Vali stood in front of Vali, that moment Rama stood in front of Vali. Vali cross-examined Rama that even though you are the king, Tum Naradipatehe Putraha, even though you are the son of Dasaratha, and why did you do such heinous crime of killing me? While you post back, and why did you do such heinous crime instead of facing me in person? And why did you hit me backside? And another point is, you have I'm a monkey. I can have multiple affairs. And what's wrong on that? I might have multiple affairs, and I'm also a Dharmatma. And why did you kill me in an unapologetic way? That cannot be apologized. And that was also brought an end to your own pride, and that was also brought an end to your own clan. And why did you do such heinous crime? Which Vali asked Rama, counter-questioned Rama. And Rama, in a calm way, slowly answered Vali's questions, because he knew Vali. Since he asked, Tum Naradipate Putraha, yes, I am the son of Dasaratha. Since his kingdom ruled around 10 regions, since his chariot was feasible in 10 regions, since Kinskinda is also in my region, I am subjected to answer your question. And you also told me that I lost Sita. If you rely on me, I would slap Ravana and make him to submit Sita. But you have failed on the duty. Even though Sita lamented, Sita lamented Heather and Tether, and Sita lamented Heather and Tether that she cried to Godavari, she cried to all the trees, and she cried to all the mountains. Samsakaranda Vakina Vande Godavari Idati Shipram Ramaya Samsarkam Sita Bharati Ravanaha, which she cried to, which she cried, and she might have also passed over here. And you didn't dare to question Ravana that why did you do such kind of heinous crime, and why did you do such heinous crime, sorry, of kidnapping others' wife, which you failed to do. You just simply guessed of whatever happening is around. I am least concerned. And you claim that you were a Dharmatma. Actually, you aren't a Dharmatma. You have you also did the same thing what Ravana had did to my wife. You did to my friend Sugriva. Because Paradara Vimarshanam, because you have abducted her his wife. The same crime which Ravana did, you also did the same. So it's better way. The best thing I can do is capital punishment. And you said you were a monkey. You seem to be a monkey, but you can't speak about dharma and adharma in front of me. If I hit you, you cannot counter question me. If I hit a monkey, if I hit a deer, it can't counter question me. You may be in a form of a monkey, but whatever you did is adharma. So, tasya dando yavaspritaha. The best way, the best thing I can do is I have to end your life. That is the way I can put an end to your tyranny. And by hearing this, doubts got cleared. And he was, and he knew whatever the things he did was wrong. He realized. And instead of asking for a revival, he asked, he gave Angada to Rama. Because he knew since he had Ravana as his, since Ravana was his friend, he feared that Angada might go to Ravana's side to take revenge on Rama. As he sensed that Rama, as Ramo Vigravantarama, since Rama was the embodiment of Dharma, he wanted at least his son to take interest in Dharma, which he stressed Angada to go to follow Rama. And he submitted Rama to Angada. And later, he also offered he repented his mistakes to Sugriva. And at last, Vali had breathed his last. And everyone came, and all his and his troops was ready to resist Tara. And even though, why? Because they have lost their leader. They have lost their leader, and they weren't ready to tell Vali, they weren't ready to tell Tara, because the opposite leader had killed Vali. And they don't want Tara to meet, to be in that scene. And somehow Tara came there. It reminds me of the Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj story. There was one Muslim general named Inayat Khan who would engage in drug trafficking, who used to sell many women across all trades, across all countries, that too in an illegal way. He was general appointed by Aurangzeb to put an end to Shivaji's kingdom. So, in that too, Shivaji was around 18. He along with his 5 to 6 generals climbed Pratapgarh so single-handedly and combated and somehow slayed Inayat Khan and his general and his troops. Everything he has slayed. And some of the people, his sons, were there. They weren't ready to look at Shiva, Chhatrapati Shivaji directly, and his wife were there. She was continuously closing her parda, and she don't want to look at his face. And some of his soldiers were telling her, were reportedly telling the queen to move aside. Don't look at our enemy. If you look at our enemy, he would be our shaitan. Don't look at her, which they all have addressed. And she requested and she bowed to Chhatrapati Shivaji. And she told she told Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj about her relationship and what are the things she had experienced with Inayat Khan. And Shivaji, along with the sons of Inayat Khan, together have had buried as well as built his own tomb near the place where he had ruled. Even though he released all the women, all the drugs, he has put a full stop to drug trafficking. But at the same time, he also gave the respect to Inayat Khan, to that enemy. He also gave the respect. The same thing Rama gave respect to Vali. The same thing Tara somehow came and saw Rama. And by looking at Rama and by looking at Vali, she lamented that how many times I have warned him not to mess with Sugriva. Better speak to Sugriva for a peace treaty. Because of his ill fate, he had to lose his life. So by looking at Rama, she sang Tamaprameyacha Durasanascha Jitendriyascha Chottama Dharmikascha Akshaya Kirtischa Vichakshanaschа Sitikshamavan Chatadopamakshaha Tamaprameyacha Durasanascha Jitendriyascha Chottama Dharmikascha. That you are ever present. You cannot be, you are immeasurable. Jitendriyasya. You have won over your senses. Cha uttama dharmigascha. As you never sway away from dharma. And whatever you did was correct. Nobody could question you. Nobody could counter question you. And even though Vali questioned you, you questioned him and you answered him by keeping dharma as your reference. Akshaya Kirtishcha Vichakshanascha. That whatever the fame you have accumulated, it cannot be deprived. It is always in a stage of it would always be incremented. That increment is of some value. Here it is, I can say, it would be forever incremented. Akshaya Kirtischa Vichakshanascha Chitikshamavan Chadadopamakshaha, which she praised Rama. Even though she praised Rama, she was in a state of depression. And at that time, Rama requested Anjaneya Swami to console Tara. Socha sochasi kam socham deenam deenadu kampase dehesmin bubbudopame, which Anjaneya Swami has consoled Tara. Socha sochasi kam socham deenam deenadu kampase, which Anjaneya Swami told. What's the point in thinking about this body? This body, very nature is to cease. It never ceased to exist. Its nature is to perish. It has no such existence. It is just temporary. So what's the point in carrying on this temporary existence? As even though Vali as a body has its no existence, but Atma as his existence, which Anjaneya Swami gives her an upadesha. The same upadesha Bhagavan told Arjuna, Asochya Navyasochaswam Pragyavadam Svashache Gatasu Nagatasumcha Nanu Sochanti Panditaha Gatasu Nagatasumcha. And whatever has happened or not yet happened, the scholars won't ever think about it. which Krishna told Arjuna, the same Upadesha Anjaneya Swami told Tara. By hearing at this, she somehow got plus she somehow got satisfied. Her mind got her mind became calm, and she digested the fact. And as per Sugriva's orders, Vali's death rates took place, and Angada himself did all the cremation and did all the satkara and did all the samskara, sorry, to Vali. And later, Sugriva ascended the throne as a king of Kishkinda, and he and Angada became the crowned prince of Kishkinda, which Sugriva himself has crowned him. Abhyasinchanta Sugrivam Prasannena Sukandina Salila Sahasraksham Vasavo Vasavam Yata, the same sloka which we would see in Rama Pattabishekam. There it is said Abhyasinchan Daravyagram. Here it is said Abhyasinchan to Sugrivam. Why Valmiki has coined the same sloka in this Kishkinda Kandam? It's because Sugriva treated himself as his own friend. That's why Prasannena Sugandina Salila Sahasraksham Vasavo Vasamayata, which Rama blessed him to be the king of Kishkinda. And suddenly Sugriva came down to meet Rama, and Rama told him, right now it is raining, so it's better after this rainy season gets over, we would come for a meeting. Which Rama had closed the meeting, and everyone they all went to the palace. And 2-3 months got over, and Rama stayed in that train and stayed in that forest and stayed under. Both stayed in the cave. Both were bearing that rain and the cold climate. And 2-3 months got over, and suddenly Rama told Lakshmana, requested Lakshmana to call Sugriva. Even though Sugriva might have forgotten the thing, and Lakshmana was very angry. He was in a state to slay Sugriva. The way, if you imagine the way he was about to move, like he was ready to kill Sugriva. But Rama told Rama, before Lakshmana was about to go, Rama slowly consoled Lakshmana, that pacified Lakshmana, that don't submit your full anger to Sugriva. Tell him and just inform him that Rama was waiting outside. Just inform him about our plan. And don't submit your full anger to Sugriva, which Rama had slowly pacified Lakshmana. And Lakshmana, in a half mind, following Rama's words, that Rama has told me that I must not get angry. I must not get tensed. And another time, and how could Sugriva forget our deal? We have to speak with him. Which Lakshmana entered the Kishkinda palace. Everyone were in their own, were enjoying their pleasures, and some of them ran hither and thither, were looking at Lakshmana's arrival, and Angada was taken aback by looking at Lakshmana's fierce face, by looking at his fierce avatar. Angada was tensed, and at the same time Lakshmana pacified Angada, that Angada, you don't need to fear. I am not I'm not angry with you. I want to meet Maharaja. Please tell him. Which he told in a bit composed way. And that shows how a Mahan has to be. Even though he was angry, his anger was in a measured way. Which Lakshmana, he was master in channelizing his own anger. And Sugriva was simply drinking liquor, and he was enjoying the worldly pleasures and he was enjoying all the damsels dancing. He was sitting in a one room. He was sitting in his own room, and at that time, Plava and Plaksha, his both messengers, they came only in this Kishkinda Ganda. In next Kandas, they won't be available. The Plava and Plaksha, both of them entered, and they all waked Sugriva. And Sugriva didn't respond to their call. He was mesmerized in the drink, as well as in that beautiful and soothing music. And he was in some other world. And they both told Plava and Plaksha, Lakshmana had come in front of you. Better stop it. Stop it. We have to go and greet him. We have to go and address him. Some incident has occurred. Please, you have to meet him, which both of them spoke. Sugriva couldn't respond. And Tara, by looking at that, she herself went and met Lakshmana. And at that time, Lakshmana lost all the tempers which he had carried all the way to Kishkinda. And Lakshmana told whatever Rama has told, she has addressed. And he also firmly told Sugriva to meet him. And Tara told that we are not that devoted compared to you. Since Sugriva was engrossed in his worldly pleasures and his worldly in the materialistic things, and whatever the things which he had got, he would simultaneously think about Rama. That I'm listening to this dance all because of Rama's grace. that kind of devotion Sugriva had. We were not compared to you. Which Tara slowly pacified Lakshmana. And under Tara's pacification, Sugriva followed Lakshmana. And along with his troops, he submitted all his troops to Rama Lakshmana, and he ordered all his troops to search where can we trace Sita. And some went towards north, and some went towards east, and some went towards west, and around across all the three directions, everywhere they went, and they were at the same time, they can't retreat because they have to follow Sugriva's orders. And he had gave a firm order that if they fail to follow the order, they would be sentenced to death. Which some went to north side and some went to east and western side, and finally they came to conclusion that at all the three directions, we couldn't trace Sita. Better we would go to the southern side, which was headlined by Angada and aided by Jambavan, Hanuman, and all the senior Vanaras who would assist them and along with his troops. And before Anjaneya Swami was before the troops were ready to go to the south side, Rama gave him his ring to Anjaneya Swami, which insists that he would be in a position to meet Sita. And all the Vanaras, Angada along with all the Vanaras, they went they were ready, they headed towards south. And they don't know what to do. They weren't ready. And they were very perplexed. And at that time, they saw a vulture who was crippling, who was very lame, who had no feathers, who was slowly walking on the cave Hether and Tether. Slowly it came, and he saw all the monkeys, all the Vanaras. They all were holding the placards that if I couldn't move, I would better, sorry, they were headed towards south. After they headed towards south, and suddenly they saw a old hermitage named Swayamprabha. And she asked, Who are you? Who are you guys? And they all told, We are Vanaras. We came here to accomplish we are all Rama's projects. We came here to accomplish Rama's project. By hearing that, she herself submitted herself. She she herself gave them the place to stay in a cave. And by her tapas shakti, they all were transported towards the seashore. The moment they entered into the seashore, at that time, the vulture was crippling. He was that vulture was seeing heather and tether that for so many years I was just inhaling and exhaling this air, and right now these vanaras, they were fast. They were all were they were all were holding their slogans that if we couldn't find Sita, if we couldn't stay here, we would fast for that, which they all were saying. And suddenly, this vulture was very happy that since we couldn't get our food, and right now, by Bhagavan's grace, I am getting my food here itself. And suddenly, one Vanara shouted that, Look at this vulture, how insensitive he is. For the sake of Rama, one vulture named Jatayu has sacrificed his own body. And by hearing the word Jatayu, this vulture named Sampati was perplexed. He was surprised. Where could these Vanaras knew Jatayu? And slowly he inquired about Jatayu and about his passing. And then slowly Sampati told his own story of how, as both of them were the sons of Surya's charioteer, trusted charioteer Aruna, as both of them have wanted to meet their father because Surya, Surya Bhagavan would travel on a chariot that with one wheel, Ekartha Chakram, that is carried by 7 horses. That Aruna would be charioteering the horses, and some of the snakes, Ananta, Takshaka, Karkotaka, they would be his whip, which Surya Bhagavan was traveling here and there around the sky. He was traveling. Both Jatayu and Sampati wanted to meet their father Aruna. At that time, it was very hot. It was scorching heat. Jatayu was flying faster than Sampati, and Jatayu couldn't tolerate that heat. And he suddenly collapsed, and suddenly Sampati came to shield Jatayu. When he came to shield Jatayu, Jatayu fell in Panchavati, and Sampati lost his wings, and he fell on Mahendragiri, and he had no other option. He didn't know what to do, and for the past so many years, he couldn't move here and there. Whatever came near him, he would devour it, and he couldn't move freely. He couldn't loiter. He couldn't freely loiter around. So he decided to quit his life. And at that time, he saw a Maharshi named Nishachar, who had a lot of animals following him. At one side, a lion is there, and one side, deer is there, and one side, frog is there. Another side, snake is there. Everyone were following him. And by looking at him, he had came into conclusion that he was none other than Mahant. So it's better I would meet him. So he was ready to submit his thoughts that he was ready to commit suicide. And at that time, Nishachar told, no need to worry. You don't need to lose your life for that. but you are destined to do one thing. You need to serve Rama. The moment you serve Rama, then automatically you would get your wings. Then automatically your wings would be grown again, which he blessed him, and he waited for thousands of years. And suddenly he thought, is this a moment for me to serve them? And suddenly these Vanaras, they were all were worried. They don't know how to locate Sita, and some said that they were ready to fasten to death. And suddenly Sampati opened his mouth that opposite to this Mahendragiri, there is Lanka, that is Sri Lanka. And from that place, Ravana used to abduct all the women from whichever place and whichever world. He used to abduct all the women mounting on Pushpaka and reach Lanka. And at that time, I heard that woman was continuously shouting Rama, 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 Rama here. I think that might be our Sita. And from there, I could clearly see the Trikuta mountain. In the Trikuta mountain, I would see the Lanka palace. In that Lanka palace, I could clearly see that Ravan's darbar. And from that Ravan's darbar is exactly opposite. There are hundreds and thousands of artificially created trees. And some are naturally created. And some are half artificial or half natural. And amidst all the trees, there is one forest named Ashokavan. In that Ashokavan, in that garden, in the garden named Ashokavan, in that Ashokavan, there is one forest named Sunchupa. There is one tree named Sunchupa. Under the Sunchupa, I could clearly see that woman that can be none other than Sita, which he gave an instruction. By giving these details, suddenly Sampati got his wings regrown and he did his samskara to Jatayu and he left. And that has gave them the breath to all the Vanaras. And all the Vanaras were ready. They all were excited. They all were excited because they knew where was Sita. But at the same time, they were also tense that how could we cross this Lanka? Who would go? Everyone were looking, and Jambavan was taking care of that planning department. At that time, one Vanara Gaja told, I can only cross 10 miles. And another Vanara, Gavakshan, told, I can cross only 20 miles. Sharaban, another Vanara told, I can cross only 30 miles. And next Gandhamadana told, I can cross only 40 miles. And one person was, and each and every Vanara were telling their own capacity. And suddenly one Vanara came between, told, I can cross 100 miles. But I don't know whether I would come back. And that has also tensed Jambavan. And they all ridiculed Jambavan that, tell me about your prowess. Whether you can go. Which Jambavan told, that is around 1,000 years. While I was young, I used to circumambulate Lord Vishnu when he incarnated as Lord Vamana, who had who was incarnated as Lord Vamana, who had incarnated as Vamana, who had behold all the three worlds. At that time, he took a magnanimous form. To that form, I have crossed around 30. I had did Pradakshina 13 times. But right now, I am very tired because I am very old. I don't know I may go to Lanka or not. But if I lose my energy, I would also fall in this ocean. So, and some Vanaras told, even though you may be old, better at least tell me who's a qualified person who can cross Lanka. At that time, Jambavan pinpointed on Anjaneya Swami. He was looking at, he was closely gazing at Lanka, and Veeravanara Lokasya Tushnimekantamastrithya Hanuman Kinna Jalpate, which Jamavan told. Veeravanara Lokasya Sarvashastra Visarada Tushtim Babuo Ekantaha Hanuman Kinna Jalpase, which Jamavan told. Those who does the work, they won't speak a lot. And those who speak, they won't do such work. Because that is the practical example which Jambavan gave in Ramayana. Generally, people give this advice. But what is the example which you ask? It is in Ramayana. Because the person, we know the proverb, empty vessels make noise. All the Vanaras, they all resemble gurus. Those gurus are excellent in their own field, and they are not in a able position to give a jnana. Here, Anjaneya Swami symbolically represents as Guru. That is what Swami Desikan said, Hanumat Sameta Guruna. Since he is qualified as a Guru, because Rama himself gave him the ring, which means that Hanuman would be in a position, Hanuman will meet Sita. That is what Bhagavan, that divine ring, that ring is the Nama. And Rama himself is Bhagavan. And Bhagavan gives Nama to Guru, such that he wants the Nama to be delivered to his utmost disciple. Since he wants that link to be established, he needs the Guru as a current. He needs a Guru as a medium. So he needed Hanuman as a medium to connect himself with Sita. So Hanuman at that time was very silent. He was thinking about Sita. And Jambavan already has found that point that Hanuman has the capability to cross 100 miles, so 100 to cross Sri Lanka, which is 100 miles away from Mahendragiri. And at that time, Jambavan spoke about merits of Anjaneya Swami. By hearing the merits, Anjaneya was very happy and he was motivated. After he got motivated, and suddenly how his bhava would be, which we would see here. Sa Vegavan Vega Samahitatma Ari Praviraha Paravirahanta Manas Samadaya Mahanubhavo Jagavalanka Manasa Manasvi Sa Vegavan Vega Samahitatma. Sa Vegavan Vega Samahitatma. Even though he had the speed, Vega Samahitatma, he somehow controlled it. Hari Praviraha Paravirahanta. Even though he was an expert, Paravirahanta, he also controlled some of the forces. What are the forces which mean? Manas Samadaya, mainly the mind. Even though we might have the positive capability, even though your mind might think optimistically, sometimes it might also dumbstruct your work. It might also outpour your work. The more optimistic the person might be, it may lead to more overconfidence. The more pessimistic the mind would be, it may lead to depression. So Manas Samadaya Mahanubhava. Then when the mind was controlled, Jagama Lanka Manasa Manasvi. And then he has taught that he would cross Lanka. With that, I would conclude this Sugriva Pattabishekam as well as Kishkindagandam. And from the next session, we would see Sundaragandam. Janaki Kantasparanam Jai Jai Rama Rama Sadguru Swabinaha Jai Anjaneya Swabinaha Jai Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Sadguru Swabinaha Jai Anjaneya Swabinaha Jai